All right. Hello, my name is Joshua Lacy, and today I'm conducting an interview with two of my friends and classmates here at Prince George's Community College, Erica Koranteng and Ervin Tyson. Today we're talking about the effects of the college course load on the mental health of the students, of college students, and the need to have um, a change in the curriculum, a change in how things are done in college as a whole. And so I'm going to bring them on now to share, a little bit about, as I question them, to share a little bit about it, their experience, and just see their different perspectives and things that they would like to see change as far as college is concerned. So, with that having been said, I'm going to bring them onto the platform. Well, no, let me do it. Let me do it one by one. Okay, so uh let's get him on the screen first of all. There we go. Okay, so what's your name? I know your name is already on the screen, but tell them what your name is.
Hey, how you doing today? My name is Ervin Tyson. As you know, I'm a mass communications at PGCC, also YouTuber. By the name Zoe Dash.
All right. Shameless plug, and you're gonna introduce yourself. That's all right with me. All right, and now, okay, there she is. Okay, now, at this time, we're gonna ask this young lady to introduce herself. What's your name?
Hi everyone, my name is Erka Koranteng. I'm a nursing major, well, pre-nursing major at PGCC.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right, and so with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get ready to get into our questions. Again, the intent behind these questions is to go into the experience that these individuals have had and just see what it is they would like to see change where college is concerned. So we're going to go ahead and do just that. So, my first question for you all is this: if you had to describe your entire college experience thus far with one word, what would that one word be and why? We'll start with you, Erica.
Okay, so for that question, I would say my one word would be exhausted because I'm balancing schoolwork. I don't work like personally, but
With
I'm
a job.
balancing school. Yeah, like a job. I don't have a job. I dropped that one. But I'm balancing my schoolwork and my little brother's schoolwork because he is developmentally delayed. He doesn't process like stuff as fast as his fellow classmates, and it makes
Hmm.
him like a little difficult for him. Also, his schoolwork load is like up there.
Hmm.
You may think kindergartners don't learn a lot, but they do. In
Hmm.
that way, with my schoolwork, it's just 24-hour at the clock schoolwork strictly for me.
Hmm. So for you, it's not just dealing with the mental taxation and emotional taxation of school for you, but now you're dealing with your brother also.
Hmm.
And just to share with everyone, Miss Corching shared with me not too long ago that another thing is that her brother is dealing with autism, and so how that affects the mind. It keeps you from processing things quicker, so it requires another level of patience that again is very emotionally and even physically taxing
Hmm.
sometimes, as I could guess. And so having to think about dealing with the deadlines included with your work and having to deal with that after dealing with a family member who is having an issue. I can only imagine how taxing that is. So uh now we're going to bring Ervin to the back to the platform, and we're going to get the same question from you, Ervin. So Irvin, in your opinion, if you had to describe your entire college experience with one word, what would that one word be,
Confusion.
and why?
Uh, the
Mhm.
reason I say confusion is because, like I said before, this is not something I really am thriving for at all. This is not something I want to achieve my dreams for. This is something I don't, look at as a life goal. And as many
So
people,
I'm sorry, just for
oh
clarity's sake, you're talking about going to college is
yeah,
not something you strive for. Okay.
this is not a dream chaser. Everybody has a dream chaser, and sometimes college is not something they're chasing. I felt like it was really, just put on me as this was the only way, and this is the only option I really had because I didn't really want to do military. You know, never really had. I wanted to do something. Just I didn't feel like being in different countries right now. I just wanted to be home. And
Mm-hmm.
only way out was for me was college, but it really isn't because I have different desires now. I'm growing up. I'm thinking better. I'm actually, I'm really knowing what I want. And like I say, YouTube. I'm nowhere right now. And YouTube, I only have 107, close to 170 subscribers. We're not gonna talk about that. I'm just saying in general, that's a dream, and I want to just keep on building off that. And also, I had other desires of being a real estate agent, which is, it's a still time now, So I'm like, why am I in school when I got these other dreams I want to, achieve? And also, I want to just start life now. So when I think about how school makes me feel, I'm confused because I'm stuck inside this building, just doing work and achieving a so-called dream.
Mm-hmm. So you're kind of in a place where and I noticed, and that's another thing that you noted, that I noted rather about what you had said is how essentially this was pushed on. So it's like you're dealing with a situation where you're trying to work out what you do know you want to do, which would be the YouTube, and you're also trying to work out in career what you want to do, which is where real estate comes in. And so you're kind of trying to balance that and figure it out. And then it's like you have the pressure, of your family on you as you're trying to work all of this out. And so again, that describes another one of the issues that we as students have, and especially dealing with Miss Quarantine, her situation, and how she deals with a brother who has autism. And so we see how, in addition to, and I believe we all can agree that in addition to college, we have lives, and very hectic lives at that. I can definitely relate to that. In addition to school, I have ministry, that I do. I'm a minister, and then I have business work that I do as a barber and as well as a videographer. And so the projects that come from there, are very taxing mentally. Also, there are different things that are, going on within my family as I speak. My grandparents have the COVID virus, and so that too is something that I am concerned and yet praying about. And so we know that life happens, but at the same time, we're competing with deadlines, with capstones, and with final projects, and this is not just something that has happened now. This is something that has happened all throughout, our college experience, whether it be midterms or when we were just starting out. Really, I mean, the COVID-19 affected education for us as a whole. Really, just having had it be where just when we go back to March and we think about how uh, one day we was leaving spring break, and as far as we knew, we was
We
gonna
didn't
go on
come back.
quarantine for 2 weeks and come back, and then what happened? We never came back. We ain't been back since. And so even that has been taxing on us. I mean, will we all agree?
I
Hmm.
agree.
So the reality is that the college student does not just have the course load to worry about, but you have the life load to worry about. And I believe that there's been a sort of a disconnect between our parents' generation and ours. Because when you think about their generation, a lot of times they put up with and just did things simply because that's just what they felt forced to
Mhm.
do. They did not to have those conversations with their parents. In a lot of situations, their parents didn't allow them to have those conversations to say, "Hey, college right here, this isn't working for me." and then automatically a lot of times the rebuttal was, well, you're not going to be a bum in this house, you're not going to be flipping burgers. But here's the thing, there are people who have flipped burgers and now own the restaurant.
Mm.
And so it's like you have to deal with the societal influence as well as the family influence, and that is very taxing. And so to have to deal with again the mental load, and that it is a lot, because college is not something that everybody is built for. Let's
No.
just be honest. The fact of the matter is that indeed you have to have a certain mental capacity to be able to handle everything that comes with college. I mean, you think about the papers that you have to write, the research that you have to do. It's not for the weak. And and unfortunately, that's where our second point comes in, with the need for reform in our education, because again, the experience as a whole has been rough. And so now I want to hear again from you, Erica, specifically, when you
Hmm.
think about the college experience thus far and how rough it has been, has there been any benefit that you have gotten from
Personally, no, because
it?
all the stuff that I feel like I should be getting from my education, I'm not. Yes, the professors are teaching and all, but I need hands-on learning, and I'm not getting that because I'm a nurse or pre-nursing major. I'm not yet in the program. I'm working towards that. And for like my science classes, I'm taking microbiology right now. For my lab, I need to be there to see the bacteria, to see, the testing sections and all.
Mhm.
Since we are now like remote, we have to like use pictures, and that's not helping me. I see the picture, of course, but I'm not really doing any like actual tests that I'm supposed to be doing in class. So I'm not really understanding. I just feel like if there's a way that we could like incorporate hands-on learning in like the remote session, then maybe that would work.
So more like a hybrid kind of thing.
Yeah. I feel
I
like
agree.
students who have to so like if you're doing art, of course you can stay home and like, do art. But for like the sciences, the engineering, I guess ballet dancers and like the dancers, if you have to be in person for that, yes. I don't
Absolutely.
know how like they can balance that with COVID and all, but if that's something the school can make happen, I feel like they should, because we need that.
I agree. I agree. And so now to you, Ervin, my same question. When as you look back on how rough the educational experience has been for you, has there been any benefit that you have gotten out of it
Okay, in school, right, or school or life, like we said,
in school as a whole?
as a whole, I would say the only benefit I can say I've gotten through this was verbal. This interview class.
Mhm.
I've verbally gotten better with my speech, opening up even more, expanding my vocabulary. You know, just finding better ways to communicate with people and ask them questions. That's a benefit I picked up because it carries on in me doing YouTube. Doing public interviews, kind of speaking in front of the camera the right way, rewording, paraphrasing things. So
Mhm.
when we get into certain things, I mean, school hasn't really benefited me at all, but there's only one thing to say that benefited me, and it was that
Mhm.
interview in class.
Mhm. So to really put everything in retrospect, you all, and this is not just something that you feel, this is something that you know, which is that you haven't gained anything from this that would have that you could only get at college. These are
Nope.
things you could have learned at any other point in your life.
Yes.
And so let's just, for the sake of making sure that we do remain factual and we're not too opinion based. Eric, I do know that you were saying that there were some classes and there were some things that you should have taken, things that you wanted to know. I believe you talked
Right.
about the biology class. Could you kind
Mm-hmm.
of put that more into um, to define that more, what would how would you been how would you, excuse me, have been able to use what you learned in that that biology class and merge that together? And now where are you? You know, because you don't have that.
Okay, so you know how we came to remote. We switched to like remote, I guess, for
Yes.
summer semester and then halfway of spring. So
Mhm.
summer I took AMP2. I was supposed to be like, on campus, normal, have like the bones, the parts of like the human system that I needed to like have, see, physical, touch, feel, know what they feel like, know where like the holes, the spaces in between each. It may not be to like the actual size, but at least I'm seeing it. Compared to that where I would have to like see a picture of it and it's labeled. I can't
Mhm.
feel, I can't touch. I need to like feel and touch, like pick it up, turn, tilt, do whatever I have to do to like fully understand it. And
Mhm.
I didn't get that. I just got like pictures of Google and the ones that my professor gave me labeled. Oh, you see this? Yeah, that's the part you need to know. I didn't really fully understand it. For my micro class, we learned about like, the microscope and stuff like that. I need to touch, I need to turn, see which
Right.
part of like the ocular lenses I'm gonna move. If I have to like move the slightest, it's not complicated. That's what I'm saying it to be. But I didn't get that. I just got a picture, labeled parts. This is the so and so, this is that. Um, for like microbacteria that I would actually like. I was looking forward to like the test we create on like bacteria, common bacteria that we have, Enterococcus, bacteria, like stuff like that. The little bacteria that I was really excited for to like use under a microscope if I have to, or like put some salt on it or iodine or fancy stuff. I was looking forward to that, but I can't do that. So it just gave us pictures again to look at. And pictures can be deceiving sometimes because
Yeah.
it may not look as yellow as, for example, like yellow or pink.
Mhm.
Um, when the computer converts it, it's going to be like way too yellow, or sometimes it'll be whitish. And then
Mhm.
if it's pink,
Mhm.
it's going to convert it to like red or something like that. Like that's not the actual color. But now
Mhm.
I'm forced to like, triple think and I'll put extra work
Mhm.
in just to figure
Mhm.
out what organism or like bacteria I have in front of me. I just feel like that's unnecessary for me.
So now it's like you're in a particular place where you feel like once you're really in the situation where you need to
Hmm.
use the stuff, you won't know
I
a
wouldn't
whole
know.
lot of what to do.
Yep.
I
And now we're forced to like create more tables and stuff just to like write them out. Let's say if you have this bacteria, or the shape is this is supposed to happen, that's supposed to happen, like to fully understand what picture we have. It's just extra that I just don't see the purpose of, because I'm a hands-on learner. I
I
just don't see
completely
it.
understand you there, because really just to give a better example, and
Hmm.
I'll start to direct this to Ervin also so that he too can answer. Um, but Ervin, it reminds me of how when I said earlier that I am a licensed barber in the state of Maryland. It reminds me of how when I was in um, barbering class, we had that hands-on training. Can you imagine getting in a barber's chair that has not gotten hands-on experience, and he's just like, let me look back at my Zoom class. I think I remember when I think I'm supposed to use this guard right here. I don't know, but let's just try it out and see. And the next thing you know, scan, you got a bald spot in your head. How do you, so it's like, that hands-on is important because that's how you really get it. That's just how you get it, So for you, um, I don't know if I've asked you this yet, but what benefit? Oh, tired.
I'm sorry.
What benefit have you gotten from the rough, experiences that you have had in school?
Um, Experiences I got before Corona, I got to touch the cameras. So we got a little bit of studio time actually in my first TV production one class, and it wasn't bad. I wish I gotten more though because we definitely missing a lot. This now has messed up our real years of going into a university, or if I decide to go to one, but or actually touch a camera if we want a job. Like, you got to understand that this right here, like looking at computers and stuff, is not getting us nowhere in mass communications at all. I'm gonna be honest with you, keep it a buck. It's not. And I think, bro, they think it's going to, like, it's able to happen, but in all honesty, it's not. It's not, because one, you gotta be able to learn how to control the board. Two, you gotta be able to learn how to control the camera. Three, you gotta be able to learn how to direct the people
Absolutely.
controlling the board. It's either those, you know what I'm saying? And you're not going to learn looking at a computer 3 hours a day, probably, every other week, 3 hours, 5 hours sometimes, and then go to a job and don't know what you're doing, but you read it off the book. But truth be told, in life, everything is really hands on.
This is true, and you are absolutely correct. Because I have to say again, myself and Ervin are in the exact same major. Both of us are mass communications majors, and so that means working in the field of television, radio, and film. And by the grace of God, I have had about 9 years now, actually, of experience within that field. But what I do know is that everybody that's in college, for that has not come with that experience. They come wanting to get that. And so it's definitely difficult when that's what you come for, but you don't get it. And so I'm in a place now where, I'm in TV production one. Ervin is a year ahead of me. So I'm in TV production one now, and he's in TV production two now.
Nah, having classes got filled up.
Okay. So, but even in that, I'm in the class that he was in, and where he got to touch the cameras and learn how to operate things. I have not, and even my experience doesn't all the way. It's not all the way equivalent to that, because while I have worked in a studio before, I haven't worked in a television studio with that equipment, and so I'm in a place now where personally, um, if I did not have the other experience, that by this time next year, when I do graduate and I'm getting ready to go into the workforce, I'm not going to know what I need to know in order to get the job I need, or not even just to get the job, but more so to be successful. So if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be prepared. But thank God that I believe that I'll be prepared for whatever will come. So thank you so much, Ervin, for sharing that. My next question to you all is this: what policies and procedures do you think are effective for learning? So essentially, think back on the greatest teachers that you have had. What things did they do to make sure that you understood what was being taught? What policies and procedures were they? Was it their teaching style, or what was that thing for you? I'll start with I'll start with you, um, Erica.
Hmm. Okay, so thinking back now, I guess let me just not think that far back. Currently with us being in remote sessions, one my psychology professor, he would like constantly ask us a like after he finishes one, I'll say about, it's not really fully a chapter. Chapter is too broad. I'll say about 5 to 6 slides. He would like make sure everyone is on track, like, ask, hey, like, does anyone have a question or you want to comment? Even though people are not going to turn their cameras on to answer the question, at least we'll type it up in like the chat just to make sure that everyone is still here. And then for my micro class, my professor will give us like, I guess, 15-20 minutes break just for us to, like, because our class is 4 hours, 20 minutes break just to like do whatever you have to do just to, you know, put yourself back together and then come back and learn. And then my other two. absolutely nothing. Let's just continue on that one.
Okay, and so do you believe that giving the mental breaks is really
Yeah,
one of those?
I feel like I deserve those. I feel like I need those actually because science constantly for 4 hours, well, from 6:30 to like 9. Sometimes we end at like 10:15 or 9:35, 10:15 around the time.
Yeesh.
It takes a toll on, yeah, at night, every Monday and Wednesday. We just need that 20 minutes break. I feel like it could be longer, but you know, we bargained for 20 minutes and that it's a rule now. So
Mm.
we deserve it.
Yeah, I absolutely understand that. I absolutely understand that. Going over to you now, Ervin. What are some policies and procedures that you feel would be effective in learning for making sure that everyone gets it, that everyone's on track, even that as Erica was saying, they have that balance of mental health and retaining what they've learned.
Well, I would like to say that I had a teacher by the name of Mr. Jim Golden. If you don't know him, he is in PG. Probably one of my most memorable professors because the class I was in, which was a communications 1010 class, which is basically intro to communications, not mass communications, communications. His style, his teaching style was just so fun. It made me want to step out and just encourage other people not to be afraid to communicate in front of the classroom. That's how, great the class was. He made me feel like college was, worth it, you know? And I sit there now and I wish I can go back to that semester because that was one of the best semesters I ever lived. You know, Thinking about the times when I used to present every project and I walk out and say I just did a bank, I just did a fire, yada yada presentation today. I walked home like the man. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Early in the morning. It was 8 o'clock. I go to 8 o'clock class, go home and take a nap. That's the only class I had though. Early in the morning. It was a good class too, cause I start off. I bring heat to the morning. Not, I bring heat in the morning, and then I guess the day soothes out. But the thing about it was the way that his energy was. Is no way that you should be coming all the way from I don't know where he was, but it was pretty far. He came with that energy, so that energy connected into me. I feel like professors profess for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Some of these professors don't put in enough effort. They're not getting students hands on. They're not getting students up to, just be fluent, have fun. And I feel like he taught us to have fun. And I sit there now and I say, I wish I can go back to that class, bro. And I wish he was in it because that class right there just made a whole different, it brought a whole different, how would I, it brought a whole different,
Feel to the
ret-
class.
feel to the, yeah, yeah. Feel like, I wish people can really like if he sees this now, I wish people can really go to his class to like actually have fun because I don't know how anybody didn't pass the class, but honestly he gave us the chance to pass it and I took every advantage of it. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? I made sure everything was fire. So that was probably the best way I can explain it. We got to be more hands on.
Hmm.
We got to be more hands on.
To add on to that, I feel like it's not always all about homework.
This is
We
true.
would have like however long set of like classes, and then we'll have like another pile of homework, no interactions, just to like fully get. I don't want to say know my everything about me, but like at least show an interest in it. That hey, I have this student in my class. I don't know why she's taking this class or why he's taking this class, but at least it's here, which means it must be interesting. Or just because they have to, that don't mean just don't just leave us in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying. Just the homework is unreasonable.
So some policies and procedures would be, according to you, Erica, was to give those mental breaks, to be considerate,
Hmm.
and from you, Ervin, I'm sorry, it would be to make sure that hands-on training is being done and that they're making the topic interesting. And the interesting thing that take from that answer is that in one of my ministry classes, the teacher, she said that when she went through ministry classes, that the definition of a teacher that she was given was someone who causes the students to learn. And so even in that instance, what that is essentially where it doesn't matter what the subject is, even if I don't like it, you cause me to like it and you cause me
Right.
to. And so I believe that that's definitely so imperative what you said about how the professors have to make the topic interesting so that even as Erica said, they may be here and they may not need to be here, but if they're gonna be here, at least you're gonna get
Make it fun.
them. Make it fun while you're here. And that's just a whole other topic that's for a whole other session about the need to make sure that classes that are on the curriculum, that are in the curriculum, are 100% necessary. If I'm a communications major, I do not need to take astrology.
About
I'm gonna
that.
leave that, I'm gonna leave that right there. Speaking of, really, that actually will go into our next question. If you had to have a say in how college curriculum is constructed and communicated, how would you do things, Erica? Well, no, let's
So,
let's 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 start with Ervin because we just heard
okay.
from you.
How would I construct the college curriculum? Is what you're saying?
Yes,
Hmm. Can I get an example again? Like just a little short example.
certainly. So for example, it may be in the curriculum that if a person who is in mass comm, I'll just say that so that for the sake of relating, they'll say that whoever, and this is because this is the case, a person who wants to work in mass comm, which is television, radio, and film, they must have classes in astrology or reproductive science or something like that.
Oh,
So, in other words, the mandates behind what courses are necessary or what teachings are necessary. If you could control that, what would you change and what would you do?
I would change things, the whole way of going into this process. I'm not trying to make this a scam. You know,
Ooh,
Well,
he
you heard
said
it
this
it.
here. You heard it here.
He said
uh,
it.
college isn't supposed to be a scam, but it truly is because
It
I'm
is.
sitting here with advisors that might mess up my whole schedule, which we need to speak on.
Preach.
Advisors, they don't do a good job. I'm not going to talk about our advisors, but I have heard a couple of stories
Oh
that,
my gosh.
from
Please
students
speak.
that advisors haven't been doing their job correctly. They haven't
Hmm?
been assigning people to the right classes for the
No,
majors.
they
And
have
I want to
not.
be honest, it's still stupid how they give the classes that are actually accredited to the majors 5 math class. Say you got to do a math class. That doesn't have to do nothing with me holding the camera. I'm trying to hold a camera. I'm not trying to add how many cameras I'm holding, right?
And this is my thing though. Even at that, and in this, I'm not being biased, but I'm honest. I'm being honest. That is the truth. And a lot of times when we do present that to individuals and we say, okay, well, why is it that I need this if I'm not going to end up using it? For example, let's say, okay, if I just did 12 years of back to back English in high school and in middle school and in elementary school, then why do I need more English when I get to college? Oh, well, you got to be able to read and write essays and write emails and
That's
stuff
the
when you
reason
when
it's
you
so
get to
tough,
work.
though.
Well, then why wasn't I prepared for that in high school if high school was to get you college and career ready? And
Yep.
so it really presents a lot of fallacies when we do get presented with information like that. And then we got to keep going through things over and over and over again and thinking about the math. Some would make the claim, oh, but you got to be able to count your money and do that. Well, didn't I learn how to count in kindergarten? And then why didn't I have also a financial math class when I was in high school? And so it really, I really do understand what you're saying there. I'm not being biased. I do admit that there are some pretty scammy ways about college. One of which is that a lot of times people spend a lot of time and a lot of money to go to school to get a degree, to get a job. Then they get the degree and they can't get the job because they don't have the degree that the job wants them to have. Y'all following me still?
Because
So it's like
okay,
they say you need a
finish.
bachelor's, but by the time you finish your 4 years, you got your bachelor's. Now you need a master's. You go and get your master's. Now you need 5, 10 years of experience. Where do you expect me to get that? So I do agree, because a lot of times, unfortunately, with the scams, they will always try to point the finger back at you that there's something you're not doing, even when you do everything they tell you to do. So I agree, and I do understand what you're saying there. But we don't want to milk that too much because this is being presented to a college class, and I don't want anybody who's watching to be discouraged. Just
Don't be
just be watching.
discouraged. We just, I guess, not being too real, but just from experiences, I guess we could say that. Because having the degree does not necessarily mean you're going to be guaranteed with that job. It's
This
just
is
a
true.
stepping stone. But
It's so true. Okay, so unfortunately, I'm at the place in my life where my battery has decided to be on 8%, and y'all know how Apple decides to be with that. And so let me just
yeah,
try to speed things up, just to make sure that we get everything. This has been an awesome conversation thus far, I must say. By the way, um, so my my last question, I believe, um, yeah, my last question would be this: how do you manage now at this particular time dealing with the stress attached to the college workload? Like, do you feel like you are well equipped to handle what is happening? Because again, you deal with, depression, you deal with anxiety, you deal with things of that nature as you are, in college, as you're matriculating through classes, as you're dealing with all of the difficulties. And so and that's not an easy thing to do. Let's point that out. And we're not even addressing the fact that a lot of times mental health isn't even acknowledged very much in our communities as a whole. We haven't even gotten to that part yet. And so a lot of times you do go into college, you do go into these situations, which is like uncharted territory. You don't know anything about it. So what are you doing to manage the stress that you deal with? And do you feel like even with what you're doing, that you're equipped enough to handle it? So I'll start with you, Ervin, to answer that question.
Man, I always, you know, avoided depression and mental health. Mental health is a serious thing, though, so let's not knock that out. That it's not serious. It is very serious. But me, I've never been in that situation when I needed to, because I already knew how to release all that stuff and find a way to get away from it. And I'm telling you, I've done this YouTube, and it's been the best thing. I've been 10 times better than before because I feel like there is hope that not I would not even I feel like I'm going somewhere with it. So that gets me a little bit excited. So it's like when I'm thinking about school, no, I wake up in the morning thinking about my subscribers count. I think of in the morning like uh what's the next real estate school open, in Maryland. But really YouTube, let's be honest, like that's my first thing when I wake up. I don't know what y'all think about when y'all wake up. Oh, I got that 6 o'clock class. I'm not pointing that to y'all, but I mean, if that's what y'all wake up to, try not to do that because that's gonna murder you. That is the worst thing you can think about is school, and school is something that we're doing right now, and we gotta accomplish. And I agree, but let's remember, we got other things to worry about. And I wake up every day in the morning wondering how can I get better in my craft on YouTube? How can I become a better motivational speaker? How can I become a better person to impact my fans, soon to be fans. Like I'm not waking up in the morning trying to be depressed. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna suck. I'm not gonna eat breakfast. I'm gonna be real skinny. So I'm waking up in the morning thinking like, dang, I'm about to get a 1K subscribers today. I'm about to get 100. Dang, I might hit a mill. Dang, I might move down Atlanta because that's the dream. I'm thinking about, oh my God, man, I'm about to move to Atlanta, Georgia. That's my motivation. So I'm not waking up depressed. I'm waking up happy every day, and it might not look like that, but I really am because I woke up another day to win. Think about that.
So essentially, the way that you manage and are able to get through the stress is to continue to reflect on and think about the goals that you have
Right,
and really what you're fighting for when you
right.
get up. Got you. Got you. That's a wonderful strategy. Wonderful strategy. Let's go now to Erica. Let's talk to you. What are the things that you do to be able to manage the stress that you deal with where school is concerned?
I just feel like if it's too much for me, I just call my friends, to be honest. We'll just talk for hours for some unknown reason. And just communicate. It doesn't even necessarily have to be about like social media or family. It could just be about school, you know. Sometimes we would insult our professors, you know, because of like if you do an assignment and it's not being graded within the time frame, that just don't make sense. But something like that. And then we could like go for walks, stuff like that. I usually go out more like for walks, personal walks, just to clear my head. That's what I do. Because it's a lot. It's a lot. If you think about school alone, and we're stuck. At least I'm stuck in those four walls because I don't have a job. So it's my
Yeah,
brother, me,
yeah,
my schoolwork, my sibling, well, my sister, and then my mom and my dad. But if I'm stuck in these rooms for however long, I guess Monday through Thursday doing my schoolwork and then go downstairs and help my brother out. When I have my free time, watch a movie, call my friends, go out for a walk. And then like I guess not necessarily every 2 weeks, but when we have like a free weekend, my friends would be like, "Hey, you trying to do something this weekend?" Still practicing social distancing. Let's not forget that part. But yeah.
got you, got you. So, uh, I do want to bring everyone back to the platform now, and I just want to say thank you. This concludes our interview, and I thank you all so much for your input. This has been an amazing dialogue, conversation that I am excited to present to my class. So I just want to thank you all so much again for
You're
all that you
welcome.
contribute. I really do appreciate it. Are there any last things that um, that are maybe on your heart or on your mind that you want to share to perhaps maybe somebody who is watching and they're dealing with the same thing, that you all are dealing with, they're feeling the same pressure? What would you say to them?
You can go first. That's
I'm
fine.
sorry. We can start with you, Ervin, because you've been quiet for a minute while we were listening to Erica. So we'll start off with you.
All I gotta say is this: there are three things you have to do in life: think, do, execute. I don't want to explain all three of them, but in those three things, don't think that there's only one way in life you can get out and do those three things. There's multiple things you can do in life and do the same three steps I told you to do. If college is not for you, I'm okay with it. But do not stop doing something that's not productive. Find something else. Whether it's flipping burgers and maybe owning that McDonald's. Do those three things every single day to do that. Because one day you have proved somebody wrong. One day you have made somebody smile when you woke up. One day you made yourself feel like you accomplished something in life. So my last approach to you doing, making those steps in college is either go ahead and achieve that college dream, or
Mm-hmm.
find something else. Because I'm okay with you doing your choice, because whatever you do is the best choice when you do it, but you got to make sure that's the best choice for a reason. That's it.
Yeah. To add on to that, I would say, how to say? Okay. Maybe if people are like not, I guess, not seeing your degree from your point of view and it makes you happy, go ahead and because I'm trying to do nursing. I guess I don't let people talk to me anyhow. You would not disrespect me because you don't give me food to eat. Then again, that don't mean I'm not gonna be respectful. I do respect people. I just don't tolerate disrespect. And maybe the way I would handle that is may not come out right to some people. I like pick out my words real quick, but I still want to like go ahead with it because it don't mean I'm gonna like sit there and cuss you out, but I would let you know that you are overstepping your boundaries. So like, calm down. And for that, that might not be the right part because of like how I would take that for nursing, because nursing people will disrespect you whenever they want to, but you just have to like be patient and I guess do what you have to do. But whatever you choose to do, just make sure it's something you want to go ahead and do for yourself and not for anybody else. So, yeah, sorry.
You're all good. So essentially, you're saying if you want to, just be sure that what you're doing is what you want to do before you do it.
Yep.
Exactly.
And you don't have to have everything figured out. I've changed my major twice. I wanted to do biology earlier, and then I switched out because a bio associate's degree don't get me nowhere, absolutely nowhere. Even though you might be looking at the bigger picture, it just don't. It didn't work for me. Sorry, it's
Hmm.
too much work. And nursing is not probably any better for me, but right now it seems like I can do it. So in the near future, if it's not something I want to do, and I still have the strength to continue, I'll go ahead and change it.
Hmm. Absolutely. And if I could recommend to anyone any particular thing to help you get through that, it would be just a few steps. I'm gonna take after Ervin a little bit and recommend a few steps. The first thing would be to pray, because the
Definitely.
reality is, at the end of the day, whatever it is that you do in life, you always got to know what God has purposed you to do, and know that it is a fact that whatever God has called you to do, you'll always be prepared. You'll always
Hmm.
be equipped to do it. And He'll give you the fortitude, He'll give you the wherewithal to do it. And so, in that, I would say pray and make sure that what it is you're doing does go with your purpose, and ask God to give you whatever it is that you need. But this is something else that I want to share, even with all of us in this instance, is never to be afraid to do something that you have not seen before. I think that that's a lot of times where our downfall comes. And it's not always something intentional, but it's just for the simple fact, how do you do something you've never seen before if you've never seen anybody do it? What do you do if everybody in your family has gone to college, but you're feeling led to go a different way? How do you navigate that? Or what if nobody in your family has gone to college and now you're the first one who decides I want to do it? How do you do that? And so to that I would say, don't be afraid to do something that hasn't been done before. And again, I can't stress it enough. Pray, and in that prayer also, ask for the strength to do it, but ask also for a supportive group of people, because at the end of the day, one thing I know for sure, two things I know for certain, is if you do something that nobody has done before, even though they may not have done it, if they support you, that's all you need. That's all you need. That support is really what's going to do it for you. And so, if your friend says, well, I got to go the workforce route, I'm going to start my business, I'm going to or work here and save up and do this, support them, pray for them, and let that be, let that be what it is you do. But if I, again, had to recommend something, that would definitely be one of the things that I recommend. And one other thing, work smarter and not harder, for God's sake, please. And don't ever feel like you have to do everything by yourself. You know, the way that
Oh no, 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 I'm sorry.
Hey, you all right over there? I need to make sure that okay now. All right, coronavirus. All right now. Anyway, you good, bro?
Yeah.
All right, but my goodness, what was I saying? Um, oh
A
yeah, you don't
different
have to do
route.
everything alone. Yeah, you don't have to do everything alone.
Right.
The way that I got into contact with Erica was we worked together in the sociology class that we were in a couple of
Hmm.
semesters ago. About this time last year, actually. No, no, the beginning of 2020.
2020 actually.
And we our whole table battled through that class and all got A's. So
Yep.
don't do it by yourself. Work smarter, not harder. Say, hey, we're gonna break this thing up and do it like this. The way I got into contact with Ervin, we decided that we wanted to work together. I believe he actually sent an email out to the class saying that he needed help on a particular assignment, and I was like, okay, I got you. Let's work together. And we've been working together on, the assignments in two classes that we share, this one and a media writing class. Been working together, tackling our assignments together, and it's been productive. And it's also been a stress reliever. It's also been productive for our visions. We've been able to exchange and talk about the things that we want to do in the future, where business is in ministry and all is concerned. And so don't feel like all of the weight is on you. Trust me, out of all of the people in your class, or some 20, 30 people, however many, somebody is there that can help you a lot of times. And even if they're not in that class, there's somebody around you who can help you. Don't assume that nobody is going to understand, and don't do that. Trust me, somebody gets it. Now, unfortunately, we kind of a antisocial generation. We don't do a lot of this, so it's like you won't know a whole lot of times, but that doesn't mean that the people who know how to help you and encourage you don't. So please know that. But those will be my words. And from there, that's the conclusion of this interview. And I'm going to stop recording.